Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Just Plays Paranormasight. We're gonna move on to the next portion of the Tsutsumi story. And yeah, we're gonna play through his story, and then I don't know if there's gonna be like a divergence like there is here, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll find out. Alright. Okay. Tsutsumi and Edio decide to collect the curse stones as soon as possible before they become the cause of an unprecedented tragedy. The two obtain the foot-washing mansion from Yutaro Namigaki and head to their next destination. So we're going to the park, I think. Yeah. Midoricho Park! Excuse me, sorry to bother you, but we have some questions for you. What? Are you with the police? I haven't done anything. Don't worry, this isn't an interrogation or anything, we just want to talk. You're Araishi Hideki, right? The historian? We know who you are, so this won't take long. But since we saw you here, we figured we'd like to ask you a couple questions. Well, let's get it over with. I'm a busy man at 1 a.m. Araishi Hideki says he's a local historian, but supposedly knows more about the rite of resurrection than anybody. The fact that he's here at this time of night, it's plenty possible he's a curse bearer. From appearances, it's hard to imagine this small, bookish, well-spoken man being very dangerous. But in this day and age, you never know. I should be careful. Questioning people like this can put unnecessary stress on them depending on their position. This guy is pretty sharp. I'll have to play it safe and only push him when I see an opening. Okay. Hideki is a historian who works part-time as a curator of the local folk museum, as well as a teacher at Komagata High School. Oh, interesting. His recent publication on the Rite of Resurrection has caused a stir in occult circles. Hideki is the quintessential obsessive researcher. Despite being entirely unsuited for teaching, he has no choice but to take up a position at Komagata High in order to make ends meet. This sounds like one of the teachers when I was in grad school. While having a captive audience in his classes goes some way to satisfying his need for respect and recognition, his conceited nature makes him unpopular among the students. Lately, he's concerned that articles he contributed for purely monetary reasons have earned him a reputation as a researcher of the occult, but the surge of interest in the topic and the resulting volume of article requests he is receiving are undeniably tempting. Hideki's a regular at the Kurokyo Cafe and Hokusai Street, where he can be found outside his work hours writing essays and manuscripts. His published books include A Study of the Unknown and An Introduction to Bando History. Okay. Boss, let's ask Hideki some questions. Now, Mr. Araishi, what were you doing here at this time of night? Doing research, of course. Day or night, information never sleeps. That's an admirable philosophy. You know, your research has been quite the talk around town. What was it they were saying? You discovered something about some book? The Record of Fates. Ah, right. You found some kind of ritual in the Record of Fates. What? Don't tell me you want to know how to carry out the Rite of Resurrection too. To be perfectly honest, I'm tired of people asking me about it all the time. None of you even care about local history. You just come crawling out of the woodwork when something interesting comes up. Looks like I hit a nerve. If you think you can force me to tell you because you're policemen, you're sorely mistaken. Was the research you were doing just now also related to the Rite of Resurrection? Well, yes, that's right. What exactly were you looking for? I have no reason to tell you that. You wouldn't understand anyway. Oh, whoops. Okay. Are you doing all this research so you can use the right of resurrection yourself? Huh, you're a policeman. Do you really think that people can be brought back to life? Everyone I meet. Pitiful. Huh? So you don't believe in the right? Whether it's real or not has nothing to do with my research. Such things are better left to occult freaks. Or so I thought. Huh? Things changed. It's become necessary for me to pursue the right. So now I pray it's real. What changed? I'm sure you can imagine. The funds for my research. I receive a large amount of funding for seeking the right of resurrection. And if I find it, I'll receive a sum so great I'll never have to worry about money again. Oh, so that means someone is sponsoring your research, is that right? So what if they are? You have no idea how hard we work to secure funding for our own research. I have no interest in teaching those children. Listen to me, I'll tell you one thing. Those experts you see writing provocative books or spouting nonsense on TV to try and get popular, all of them are just trying to get money they need to do their research. With how popular the occult is, saying something even remotely spooky can lead to big money. What? But I bought your book! The pursuit of the unknown begins first and foremost with belief. I was so inspired by that bit. I do appreciate your patronage. Unfortunately, however, the occult is not my true interest. The fate of the unknown is to be destroyed through thorough research and deep consideration. No way, I can't believe it. You're, surprisingly innocent. Then what kind of research do you want to be doing? Huh, I'm sure it wouldn't interest you, but to put it simply, the focus of my research is how historical accounts transform into folklore over the years as they are passed down from generation to generation. That's actually really fascinating. What does that mean? Due to human bias, the account of any event is inevitably changed by the person communicating it. This is not necessarily done with ill intention. It happens when someone tries to fill in the gaps in a story that lacks detail, or when something left out or abridged because of the story's length, or when a story twists and shifts as it's spread through its oral tradition. Even when two stories are told about the same event, differences in culture or environment affect how it's sold, changing its content. Silly little things can turn into terribly mysterious legends. My research is the study of how history, culture, and legend all influence each other. So one thing I'm curious about this game is, this is a thing, it's a pretty common thing in a lot of, like, stories that talk about, like, religion and that kind of thing, and it's about, like, you know, what's a god to a non-believer, whereas gods are not created by, or humans aren't created by gods are created by humans, and they exist so long as people believe in them. You know what I mean? So, like, I wonder if we're gonna go down this route where the paranormal exists because some people sincerely believe in it, and therefore, you know, that's why it's happening. Because, like, the beech tree was just, it was an evergreen tree that nobody realized was an evergreen. They thought it was deciduous, and so it somehow, that mundane thing turned into a particular, like, legend around, like, lies and falsifying information and stuff. And so I wonder if that's one of the directions they're going to go with this. Could be interesting. It's also one of the bases for Gunner Creek Court, the story there, the whole thing with, like, Coyote and stuff. So, huh, I see. Take the 7 Mysteries of Honjo, for example. Why are some of the mysteries seemingly about nothing particularly interesting? You'd think stories wouldn't last a decade, let alone hundreds of years. So, why? Perhaps putting it that way piques your interest. I admit, I am curious. So that's why you've been researching all this time. Makes sense. As I said, it doesn't matter to me whether the right exists or not. If people in the Edo period believed that what was written in the Record of Fates was real, that's all I'm interested in. But I have to be realistic. The research I'd like to do is unfortunately not very lucrative. That's why I need to take some risks. Okay, that's done. Was the research you were doing just now a Yes, that's right. Okay, I guess I can't pursue this until I do the other thing. This Record of the Fates. Where did you get your hands on it? The storehouse of an old private residence in the city, just as the public was told. I'm unable to be more precise due to an agreement with my informant. Not at all suspicious? Well, in that case, I think we might have a guess as to what it is you were looking for. What? Damn it, if you know about that, then... Calm down, no need to get so defensive. We'll hide it for now. We both want information, right? Why don't we have a nice friendly chat? You may say that, but I don't trust you. Perhaps you've already learned about curses. Perhaps you want to take my power away from me. No, that's not true. I almost revealed my hand. I'll say nothing else. Sorry, I'll be taking my leave here. Hey, stop! Ugh, he's so fast. Sorry, boss, he got away. A curse stone! You're a curse bearer! A leaf. Is it the Evergreen Beach, then? Yep. Will you show me yours? This is mine. The ever-burning lantern. Interesting. I mean, we want him to... Well, I guess we could, because, like, it's a good threatening tool. I'll tell you this for free. The Evergreen Beach comes from a man who was hanged for spreading false rumors. But the accusations against him were unfounded, and he died cursing those who deceived him. So that's the resentful memory held within the Evergreen Beach. The memories of the 7 mysteries are truly fascinating. If only I could collect them all. Do whatever you want, but you should know something. This stone of mine lets me curse anyone who tries to mislead me. What? But... So don't try and lie to me. I'll know. You would curse a citizen? You call yourself an officer of the law? That all depends on you. I don't want to use it if I don't have to. What is it you want? Curse stones are dangerous. I'd like to confiscate yours. Excuse me, but my right! First, let me ask you one thing. You haven't used that curse, have you? No, of course I haven't, I swear! I see. Good. Now, why don't you hand over that stone? Unless you'd rather try using it on me instead. Damn you, I won't give it to you! If I were to say that, what would happen? Would it be a crime? The police are aware of how dangerous the stones are. I could arrest you under Article 1, Section 2 of the Minor Offenses Act. Or you hand it over, and all you lose is your secret ability. Think of what would happen to all your research if you were arrested. Fine. You can have the stone here. Good choice. I look forward to seeing how your research pans out. Alright. Would you tell us everything you know about what's been going on? If you help us out, we'll give you all the information we've gotten after we solve the case. What do you say? In that case, will you tell me all about the resentful mysteries of the 7 mysteries? Memories. I believe they're the key to the secret hidden in the Record of Fates. Sure, why not? I'll learn about them as I collect the curse stones. But thanks to you, we learned a lot from him. I wonder... The mysteries in the right are all public information. He kept everything he knows about the other curse bearers and the source of his curse here hidden. I was hoping he'd at least give us a clue about how to beat those curses. I see. Then we should be more aggressive. More aggressive next time. Really make them spit it out. And by we, I mean you. I'm guessing he wants to save this curse. It Wouldn't have told us anything, no matter what we asked. But now we know where he hangs out. We can always send someone for him if we need be. Right, got it. I'm surprised to hear that these are actually 9 of the 7 mysteries, though. Yeah, it's 2 extra curse bearers we gotta find. We've confiscated 2, so there are 6 more. They could be anywhere in this town. We have to find them fast, or they may start using the curses. Nah, I think we're already too late. Huh? I didn't tell you this, but there were some soul dregs in Namigaki's curse stone. Really? And you already killed somebody with it? It's not much, so it probably wasn't a curse bearer. Shit. Well, we know who did it. We can make arrangements to take him into custody. We'll have Paranormal Affairs pick him up tomorrow. For now, we continue our search. Right. On to the next place. We just have to cross them off the list one by one. Oh, but boss? Good to know we can use the Minor Offenses Act to arrest people with curse stones. Why didn't we do that with Namigaki? If we could do that, there'd be no need for Paranormal Affairs. What grounds would a normal detective have to put him under arrest? Oh, right. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Oh, interesting. So I can't progress until I do other stuff from these guys. Ah, interesting. Okay, okay. Ever-burning lantern. Curse power. Kills by disembowelment one who finds themselves trapped in the darkness of the curse echo. Ah. Okay. When Honjo was filled with samurai residences, the spies of the shogunate lived amongst the townspeople to keep an eye on things. The soba cart on South Warigasu Street served as one of their outposts. They would communicate to each other in code by turning the lantern on or off. Night at 4 a.m. meant that someone would be having the last soba of their life, and their belly would be sliced open the next night. An unfortunate incident occurred in which a man attacked a woman in a bout of fury. He regretted it deeply, even declining to invoke the right to defend his honor. But the deed was done. Still, he could not accept it. His rage at having been used by his daimyo boiled over, turning into a grudge that he would never forget. Nearby, he saw a lantern quietly glowing in the night, and when the 6th bell rang, the man cut his own stomach open. Since then, the lantern could be seen alight before the soba cart had opened, and would flicker out suddenly, even when there was no wind blowing. As this unsettling phenomenon continued, the rumors surrounding it grew, and soon all were convinced that it was the man who cut open his stomach visiting from the beyond. Alright, alright. Also, your Kai Shakuin sucks. They're not supposed to behead you. Alright, okay, so I guess we gotta continue. Let's do some of this lady's. When the son of Harue Shigima was kidnapped, a botched investigation by the police resulted in the child's murder. 1 year later, Harue has hired a private investigator to help resolve the unsettled case. Late at night, when speaking to the detective at her home, something strange suddenly appears. May those who mock fire's fury perish in the flame. All I can think about is the fury. The flame bearers. Kill them all! Fire or fire-starting device on their person. Murderous impulse seeps into my soul like thick black tar. Now. Kill. Can you hear it, Curse Bearer? You who so strongly desires the right. Kill them. Man, these people are all like up and doing stuff all times of the night. Back with me, ma'am? Can't say I understand what just happened, but it certainly seems to have put you in a good mood. This might be the first time I've ever seen you really smile. Sweet dreams. Lady, you got the... She's blazed. No. Not dreams. Sounds like something I might want to hear about. My heart's still racing. This is it, my chance, at long last. The guest table. I don't know where Father got this old thing from, but I've never liked it. Ha! A fax machine. It can send images to other places along with a telephone network. I don't really know how it works. Most houses don't have one. I rarely find a use for it. So, fax machines still exist in Japan, just so you all know. The telephone. This mansion has a private line. An old hanging scroll. I don't know who painted it. It's been hanging here since before I was born. An arrangement of flowers. We bring in someone to do it. I don't even know what the flowers are called. You're rich. A stereo unit with separated speakers designed for home use. My husband insisted on buying one, even though he isn't one to listen to music often. Oh, I'll be damned. Is that what I think it is? Goodness, you made me jump. It's just a silly little sticker my son got from somewhere or another. He put it up just before... well, you know what happened. I can't bring myself to take it down. Let me take a closer look. Ha! I knew it! It's Head Hensho from way back in set number 1. This is a real collector's item. Excuse me? Don't tell me you've never heard of the Mockingbirds. This is a wonderful translation. It's... the what? They're the hottest new craze. Cute little birds dressed up like rough and tumble delinquents. I've never heard of them, but this certainly seems to matter to you. The best part is, nobody knows who made them. They just started showing up around town, and soon enough they'd won everybody's hearts. This is like that thing in Osaka where they were putting up, like, those random stickers of that like, middle-aged man. The story goes that they're made by some anonymous artist who covertly leaves them behind in specific locations. No one knows when or where they'll show up next. They're basically an urban legend of sorts. To think one would turn up here of all places. This is a good sign, I'm sure of it. Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah! Oh yeah, collectibles, baby! Love me some collectibles. Alright. Oh, TV. Okay, A color television. Father bought one as soon as it hit the market. He likes to have the latest gadgets. Unlike the latest models, there's no remote control. We've had it for a long time. Back when it was new, we all gathered around it and marveled at it as a family. But with Father and my husband being away so often, it quickly fell into disuse. Also, there's no cable. The swinging of the pendulum echoes through the room. It feels livelier than usual with Richter here. Usually it's just me. Okay. Doors. Oh, sick. Now I got things to find. Okay. A private investigator I hired. A friend told me about him. They said he's not very well known, but he's good at what he does. When I first visited his office in Ota City and saw how he dressed, I could hardly believe he was a detective. But after talking to him for a while, I changed my mind. Otaku is funny because, like, everybody calls, like, Kawasaki City, like, Kawasaki Tokyo, and then Ota Ward is, like, Ota Ward Kanagawa, because they're, like, right next to each other. He says some strange things at times, but he seems like the reliable sort. Alright, before we talk to him, let's look at our updates. Okay. Richter is actually a private investigator with an office in Ota City, Tokyo. After taking on a request from Harue Shigima to investigate the unsolved kidnapping and murder of her son, he gets caught up in the events surrounding the Rite of Resurrection. Once a police officer, Richter was racked with guilt over the police's inability to help all those in need, and quit the force to start his own private investigation firm. However, his soft-hearted nature leads him to take on too many cases, and he has to put his office in dire financial straits. Well, he's still in business. How he's still in business is a mystery, with some whispering that a wealthy patron is keeping him afloat. Richter studied alongside Detective Eddie O'June at the police academy. Somewhat surprisingly, given his outlandish clothing and mannerisms, Richter excels at covert investigations and tailing his targets. He proudly refers to himself as an investigator extraordinaire, though he only ever succeeds at impressing himself. Richter's biggest source of happiness is nuzzling his female pet albino parakeet, Ernestine, which he keeps in his office. He also enjoys collecting mockingbird stickers, a popular line of merchandise featuring birds inexplicably dressed like delinquents, and can be frequently sighted searching for them around town. While out and about, Richter typically leaves the office, and more importantly, Ernestine, in the care of Amamori, a junior high schooler who volunteered to assist Richter after being involved in a previous case. Okay. Harue is a housewife who resides in a manor near Shumoku Bridge. Her 11-year-old son Shuichi was kidnapped and murdered about a year ago. The death was a result of the mistake of the part of the detective assigned to the case, a mistake which enraged the kidnapper and had him cut off all contact with the police, leaving no room for negotiation. The incident was covered up, and Shuichi's killer remains at large, leading to the aggrieved Harue to call on the services of private investigator Richter Kai to uncover the truth. The Shigima family come from a line of samurai who built their residence in Honjo during the Edo period. They assumed important positions in the police force following the Meiji Revolution, thereby protecting their family's elevated status. Even today, many of the Shigima line work as police bureaucrats and senior police officers. Harue's father sits in the upper echelons of the National Police Agency, and her husband, adopted into the Shigima clan through an arranged marriage, that's what I thought, is also a highly respected agency official. However, as her family prioritizes work above all else, it wasn't long before Harue's marriage grew cold. Though she wants for nothing, she's isolated from her neighbors and withdrawn from society. Seeing her son grow into a young man gave Harue a purpose in life, but it was cut short by the kidnapping incident. Following the incident, Harue spent many days in a deep depression, breaking into sudden fits of shouting and wandering around in the middle of the night. Her cheerful, loving disposition faded away, and she took to making snide remarks at her husband, which only further soured their relationship. A few months ago, Harue's husband was transferred to another area for work and now rarely returns home, with Harue left to live in the large, empty mansion alone. As a housekeeper who has been with the family for a long time comes in to take care of all the housework, Harue has nothing but time in her hands. Housekeeper. The housekeeper could also be Yoko, because I believe Yoko was said to be a housekeeper, so she might be the housekeeper for Harue. I also wonder if Tsutsumi is the detective who messed up this this case. We'll have to see. Okay. Okay. Red, red, red. Everything is dyed crimson. My home is burning to the ground. It's hot, so hot. I must call for help, but I cannot speak. My throat must be burned up from the smoke. No, I think I'm already on fire. That's right, I'll just use the clappers. Clack, clack, is anyone there? Clack, clack, why is no one coming? I'm going to burn to death. How did it come to this? All right. Her. Must be the work of that vixen who appeared suddenly and enchanted my lord. That witch, whose hauntingly cold eyes had my lord dancing in the palm of her hand. Perhaps I was also taken in by her. How many innocent people did I lure in under orders? This must be karma. The sound of a heavy bell. Feels like my head will split open. All right, the evening bell. That must be why no one can hear the sound of my clappers. I've got to do it louder. Clap, clack. Azure Heron Agency. Richter Kai's private investigation firm in Kamata, Ota City. Kamata, by the way, has a lot of really top-tier gyoza restaurants, and I know this because my friend, who is kind of like a local like gourmand, she took us all out there one time and was like, I've set up it was like a pub crawl but for gyoza, and it was so awesome. I had such a good time. I mean, we drank too, but like it was mostly about the gyoza. Oh, it was so good. So if you're ever in Kamata, look for one of those like hole-in-the-wall gyoza places, Chinese restaurants. Get yourself some gyoza. Freaking good. Anyway, Originally, Kai thought to give it a simple name like Kai's Detective Agency, but upon hearing that people are more likely to pick names listed at the front of the phone book alphabetically, he decided to pick a name starting with an A. Thus, the Azure Heron Agency was established. However, it is questionable whether the heron, a bird of somewhat ominous significance, is an effective symbol for attracting customers. Even his own assistant has referred to the name as confusing at best. After all, rather than an azure heron, Richter keeps a white parrot as a pet and dresses not in blue, but mostly in white. If there is a symbolic connection to be made here, it surely has been lost on all but Richter himself. A private investigator, also known as a private eye, is a detective who operates with their own agency. Although there are no formal qualifications necessary to become a private investigator, many are retired police agents or detectives due to similarities between the work involved. At a glance, private investigation firms and inquiry offices might look similar, but they carry out different types of investigations. Inquiry offices specialize in conducting credit checks based on business, while private investigators are generally involved in tailing persons of interest and gaining information surreptitiously. This has just reminded me that the whole thing about like putting work before everything else was reminding me of the whole like kitty kitty family thing. I need to get back and finish my summaries for DRK. I need to do that at some point. Alright, mockingbirds. These popular bird mascot stickers seem to pop up everywhere. Nobody knows what the legendary artist is behind these quirky birds, but they quickly became popular for their surreal yet oddly cute designs. Be in the right place at the right time in Honjo, and you might just be able to find all 20 of them scattered about. Legend has it, collecting all of them will bring good luck. I assume this is how you... this is how you get the true ending, maybe? Head Hensho. Approach the net. Bottom shelf surrounded by darkness. Oh, okay, this tells you, like, where they are. Okay, cool, cool, cool. That's good to know. I'll have to go back and try and find them. Okay, nice. It wouldn't let me find them before, I assume. This is the earliest I can actually find them, so I'll have to go back and replay to get them. Head Hensho. Love it. Love it. Also reminds me a little bit of, again, like with the Kokkuri thing. The whole, the cat graffiti artist thing from Tweely. Okay, anyway, let's talk to Kai. Let me bring you up to speed. We were in the middle of a chat when you suddenly started spacing out. And the whole time you were grinning to yourself like you just won the lottery. Care to tell me what that was all about? Well, where to start? Interesting. Very interesting. So the Haunting Clapper's curse echo appeared out of nowhere. Told you how to perform the rite of resurrection and gave you the curse you'll need to do it. Have I got that right? That's right. So it's all real. Honestly, I still find it hard to believe. But I guess I have to now. I saw that curse stone appear in your hand myself. Looked like it popped clean out of thin air. With evidence that clear, there's no denying that some supernatural force is at work. I don't think you quite understand. Oh? This isn't about evidence, and it isn't about belief. It's more than that. I know it's real. The moment the curse appeared, I knew everything before it, even I said a word. It was already there in my head, clear as day. You just knew, huh? It was etched into my soul, along with the curse echo's resentful memories. So I can feel it, what it was like. Dying like they did hundreds of years ago. Wreathed in flame, writhing in pain as my flesh blackens and my blood boils. I can feel it. All the agony, all the rage. It fills me with bloodlust. I think I need to kill someone. Girl, same. Anyone will do, just as long as they're carrying fire. I see. That could be a problem. You think so? From what I know of you. I was sure you'd see it as an opportunity. The stronger the desire to resurrect someone, the stronger the urge to kill. That's how it seems to me, anyway. Good grief. Talk about a spanner in the works. I say we take stock for a moment. Remind ourselves of where we've come from and where we're going. That might be a good idea. That's what you hired me for, ma'am. To look into your son's kidnapping last year. To uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Shigemi Shuichi. Oh, yes, I remember. They never did find the one who did it. That's what I'm here about today, in fact. Kind of you to let me drive by so late, by the way. I've been turning over every last stone, and I've come up with a grand total of... 1 lead. So you said. As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I've managed to make some headway. I remember. You were just about to tell me. You know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. To tell you what, why don't you tell me what I've found, and then we can make a decision. Alright. Oh wait, I want her to think. My heart's still racing, my chance at long last. Okay. Any more birds in here? Guess not. Alright. I suppose there's not much point in going over the kidnapping itself. No, I'm very familiar. Then I'll leave that for the files to cover and just confirm a few things about the case. The police traced the culprit's calls back to, let's see here, Northern Oyoko River here in Sumida City. It's quite a wide area. That's right. In the end, they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from. But it was almost certainly the same location that Shuichi was being held captive, since Shuichi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyoko River is quite a distance from Shuichi's normal school commute. Factoring in that he was seen at school but went missing before he arrived at his house, it's likely he was abducted by car on his route home. Maybe, but I got stuck between saying route and route. Exactly. Shuichi was a clever boy. He never would have gotten into a car with a stranger. That's right. I was very firm about that. I know he understood, too. I even saw him warning the other children. It's possible that they forced him into the car. The only issue there is there weren't any witnesses to the kidnapping. You can't bundle someone in a car with that many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward to say they saw anything suspicious. So, did they target him at some other time or somewhere away from his usual route? Both of those seem a little far-fetched. Which raises the question, how did the kidnapper pull it off? The police never managed to find an answer. Well, I mean, I'm just spitting in the dark here because I just know very little about this, but this would say to me that the person in the car was not a stranger. You know? Like, this is a very classic, the dog didn't bark, why didn't he bark? Kind of situation. In the end, they decided the kidnapper must have just gotten lucky. Well, why not turn the problem on its head? Alright, flip it turnways. The kidnapper managed to convince Shuichi to get into their car, but how? The only thing that makes sense to me is if they were somebody that he would have a reason to trust. See? A teacher, perhaps, or a relative. Somebody else that he knew. But all of the adults Shuichi knew had alibis. The police checked them all thoroughly. They did, huh? No one throws numbers at a problem like the cops. But what if it wasn't someone he knew, or rather... what if the culprit disguised themselves as a police officer? That would explain why he didn't find them suspicious. The Shikima family has close ties with the police after all. He would have had a reason to trust them. You might be right. But surely that couldn't have... Well, there's a problem with the theory. You'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. That's sort of the point after all. They're meant to be visible deterrent against crime. But here's another interesting bit of trivia I happen to know. When we ask people to imagine someone suspicious, nobody pictures women or children. Even kids who have been warned about stranger danger often subconsciously expect that danger to look like an adult man. Besides, Shuichi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong. That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean... Now you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Shuichi asking for help, what would he have done? If someone like that said they were lost or asked him for directions, would he have gotten into a car? He might have. My husband always told him that a man had a duty to watch out for women and children. See? Frickin' Japanese patriarchal gender roles getting kids killed. You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays. But if Shuichi believed it, then we might have something here. And you think the culprit was a young woman? But it was a man's voice on the phone. She might have had an accomplice, or didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, it would explain why she hasn't come forward. She herself may not realize she had anything to do with the case. So the question is, did anybody see Shuichi speaking with a young woman on the day of his disappearance? See, what I said about people's biases, that goes for witnesses too. And I figured that maybe if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. So I spent my day asking around Shuichi's school route, seeing if anyone had seen something. And one man thought he had. Do you mean he saw it happen? Well, I can't say that for sure yet. It turned out he wanted something from me, so he asked if we could talk in private. Nakigaki? Alright, this should do. There's no one around, we can speak in confidence. Yeah, it's Namigaki, right? Excuse me, what was your name again? Oh. Jonoichi. Got it. Well, Jonoichi, I'm all ears. This is the most bubble-era look. Look at this bubble-era fit! Look at this puffy mullet, and these sideburns, and these giant glasses, and this bolo tie. Wow. Just so we're on the same page, you're a private detective investigating Shuichi Shigima's kidnapping. Do I have that right? Of course. What else do I look like? How should I know what a private detective look like? Ugh, forget it. Look, I'll tell you straight. My life is in danger, and I need your help. You'll excuse me if that caught me a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who is trying to kill you? A student called Shiraishi Michio. Interesting. Schoolgirl, eh? Sounds like you've been naughty. It's nothing like that. That girl, she's a murderer. I'm the only one who knows, but I saw what she did. Shiraishi Michio, I saw her kidnap Shigima Shuichi. Come again? I saw her talk to him on the street and lead him away. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him, I'm sure of it. Or at least she's got something to do with it. That's what you're here for, isn't it? Then you can't let her get to me. If that's true, you've been sitting on some valuable information. Why didn't you tell anybody? Well, you see, if you can't explain that, I don't have any reason to believe you. I couldn't! She told me she'd kill me if I spoke a word! You're telling me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life? So you've been sitting on that all this time, and you think she's coming for you now that you've spilled the beans? Yes, that's it, exactly! I'm begging you, don't let her get me! Arrest her, I'm telling you, she's a demon! Well, you seem to believe what you're saying. But it just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified? You don't know what she could do. She'll curse me. Curse you? I'm sorry, but you're losing me here. It's true. Her house, it's... Oh, forget it. Why do I even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have known you'd never understand. Enough. I'll just find someone else to help me. Hey! And that's about the long and the short of it. I can hardly believe it. At the time, I thought his mention of curses was just crazy talk. But I'm starting to see there might have been more to it. Then, if we can just find that girl... Curse or no curse, if she was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, and there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging on the man I spoke to. His full name is Junoichi Kohei. He's a teacher at Komagata High School here in Sumida. A teacher? Then this schoolgirl is one of his students? I think that's very likely. At last, we've got a lead. Hopefully it'll be the breakthrough we're looking for. The Rite of Resurrection, huh? I read about that in an occult magazine the other day. Apparently some old book showed up recently with all the gory details. And they say the rite can be found somewhere in Honjo. I remember the first time you told me about it. It felt like my prayers had been heard. Like I had hope, real hope for the first time. Ever since that awful day, I've wondered, what if I hadn't sent him to school? What if I'd just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by when I don't think if I'd done something differently, Shuichi would still be alive. You can't blame yourself, ma'am. It was the culprit's fault, not yours. Though I know that won't help any. Grief is funny like that. I'm guessing why that's why you're after the rite. Guess I didn't need to ask. It's written all over your face. I can tell how much he meant to you. But, and this is a big but, if this rite is the real deal, using it'll mean killing someone and stealing their soul. Is that a problem? If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you. Oh, that's a shame. A shame, huh? That's all? I'd thought, if I'm going to be competing with other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful. You realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that? I think any parent in my position would happily kill for a chance like this. That's so, is it? Dear, oh dear, what have I gotten myself into? Okay, let's actually check this first. Okay, elementary school student. The only son of Shigema Harue. He was kidnapped and murdered 1 year ago. His body was discovered floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi was a conscientious, brave young boy who was determined to protect his mother, Harue, amid his father's frequent absences. He dreamed of becoming a police officer and displayed diligence and an impressive sense of responsibility from a young age, likely due to being raised in an extremely strict environment. Born in the early 70s, he spent his days immersed in various activities and studies, including playing piano, learning the abacus, taking English lessons, and training in kendo. Shuichi's tendency to put other people's needs over his own meant he died without ever telling his classmates how much he longed for all of them to go out and on a hunt for mockingbird stickers. Okay. Oops. Okay. The Shigema kidnapping overview. A kidnapping and murder case that took place in Honjo, Sumida around 1 year ago. Harue Shigema's son, Shuichi, age 11, was kidnapped on his way home from school, with a ransom being demanded that same evening. Initially, the kidnapping was thought of as a simple extortion scheme, but when it came to light that the Shigema family was closely tied to the police, and Shuichi was in fact the grandson of a senior official, it was quickly assumed that the perpetrator was acting upon a grudge against the police force. The kidnapping was treated as a direct attack against the good name of the police, and a large-scale investigation was launched that used the best equipment available to trace phone calls. This made it all more embarrassing when they were unable to catch the culprit, losing the public's confidence. The culprit grew cocky, restlessly mocking the police force. After 3 days of failure after failure, Harue reached a breaking point. Spurred by concern for her son, she resolved to hand over the ransom money as fast as possible. But her husband and father, who held the prestige of the police in high regard, refused, saying they would not let the criminal win by giving in to their demands. The increasingly frantic detective assigned to the case lost his temper when the criminal called to give an ultimatum, causing the culprit to never make contact again. Another week passed, and Shuichi's body was found floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi's death could be largely ascribed to the police's incompetence, but this was ultimately covered up with stringent media embargoes. The investigation was never closed, but the case has long gone cold. Jigoku to Tengoku, or is it Tengoku to Jigoku? I don't remember. High and low, which I guess indicates it should be Tengoku to Jigoku. There's a Kurosawa film, in English known as High and Low, and it has a very similar situation to this, where a it's a commentary on social stratification and the rich versus the poor, and it centers around the rich family, the children. I don't. It's been a long time since I watched it. Being kidnapped by a poor guy, and so it's reminding a little bit of that. If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill the other curse bearers. I only need you to find them. I won't be party to a murder, ma'am. Not even for a client. I see. I didn't realize you were so stubborn. Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out. What do you have in mind? Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone after they've filled it with soul dregs? If that was all you were after, then I could lend you my services guilt-free. If the other curse bearers want to kill each other, that's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee a stolen curse stone would work, but we can worry about that later. Well then, I suppose we have a deal. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using my curse? Would you disapprove? That would void our contract, ma'am. Just warning you now. My. Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about that curse of yours? The haunting clappers, was it? That's one of the 7 mysteries of Honjo, if I remember correctly. That's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that. In that case, my money would be all on the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try and come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curses make their bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere. That sounds sensible. And if I remember correctly, your haunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person. Is that right? That's right. In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people of fire. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. It seems like a good curse to have. It's simple and straightforward enough to use. Although it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is on the table. You really think it's that good? Target can't do much if they throw it off, and it has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters too. Just slip it into your target's pocket. And say that condition were already fulfilled before they even knew you're there. They wouldn't even know what hit them. Maybe I won't have to actually use it. I could just tell someone I could, and they'd have to do what I said. Threats could work, although without any proof it'll come down to how convincing you can be. If only you could use the curse, then back out at the last second. At the last second? What an interesting idea. I have a letter right here. We could try it now. That's an interesting proposition. But maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig. Oh, I see. You're an odd one, ma'am, if you don't mind me saying, and I don't think it's just the curse. You flatterer. As for what we do next, first of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside your normal routine. Right then, have you decided what you want me working on? I feel like this character would prefer help with the right, but I want to know more about this kidnapping. Finally I have a lead. I need to know what happened to my son. Your wish is my command, ma'am. I'll focus all my efforts on looking into the kidnapping. Although, something just occurred to me. You can't investigate the matter at night, can you? At least until the sun rises. Could you search for the other curse bearers? Alright, I see how it is. Well, I'm happy to help. Odds are good the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill under the cover of darkness won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before morning comes. So it's settled then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. And once the city wakes up, I can start asking questions. I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. I'll even try and find Miss Shiraishi as part of the bargain. Thank you, that's more than enough. Now then. I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find out anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout. Alright. There's no telling what kinds of curses you might find on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it, and try to be ready for anything. I will. Well, if that's all, I should be going. And then we go out. Stay at home, it's not safe. Well, time for me to go out. Alright. It's been about an hour, so I'm gonna cut it there. Yeah. The next episode, I'm gonna probably record a couple of them in a row today, so that I have a few to edit and put up, put into the queue to go up over the time that I'm away. So, alright everybody, take it easy, have a great day, and we'll pick up next time with the Shigima mystery. Bye now!